Presented by the Frog Brothers Podcast.
Welcome to James Bondage, the initial episode.
We shall all do accents.
On the James Bond
Oh, we're covering the Goldeneye today, ain't we? I'll do the Cockney one, eh? Won't
I'll
I?
do the Cockney one, and I'll say bloody cunt a lot.
It's the Goldeneye. I've just rented this movie down at VCR.
From the year 1996,
5.
Goldeneye.
5.
95.
The game was 96, wasn't it?
No.
Son of a bitch.
97.
97, yeah.
Fuck.
Can't do anything like can you dumb
the
bastard?
game-
Making shit up.
The game came out right about the same time as Tomorrow Never Dies.
Well, I know what I remember
yeah.
compared to the fucking game.
Well, this is Pierce Brosnan's first Bond film. And
Pierced Brosnan?
And we are recording this on Pierce Brosnan's
That's what
69th birthday.
That's my porn
Nice.
star name.
And we're blowing. Mine's
Pierced
Clint
Brosnan.
Eastwood.
I know,
so.
but mine's Pierced Brosnan.
Piss.
We got some good porn names
Piss,
here.
you know. Here we go. That's my first Bond movie.
So this movie,
I just did
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Mrs. Doubtfire.
I came straight from the studio.
So this movie is the first movie that was not written, or
I
the
fucked Robin Williams while he was cross-dressing.
We're both the hairiest motherfuckers you could ever imagine. The wife in that movie had a fetish for hairy men.
They made me take out my nipple piercings for that one.
That's why I'm no longer
Not
called
mine,
Pierce Brosnan. I'm Pierce Brosnan. You need to pierce me now, fresh.
Exactly.
No, so this movie was the drastic change in the Bond series. Obviously, the first one since the late 80s. What was the last one? 80.
9. So this is
89.
6 years. Some financial issues with MGM, I think.
A few things there, but
Timothy Dalton quit probably 93 or 4. He decided he wasn't going to come back. Such a long gap. But Pierce Brosnan was originally going to be Bond instead of Dalton. But when the producers of Remington Steele caught wind of this, they renewed his contract and renewed the TV show because it was canceled.
Oh, they didn't want him going on to bigger, better things, so they wanted to keep him trapped.
They used the news to get attention for their show. So,
Oh, fair enough.
and I think it only went one more season. So,
Interesting. Well, this is the first movie that was not produced by Mr. Broccoli.
false.
Oh, and the first,
This is the last movie.
the last movie that
was
he
alive for,
produced,
I think.
and his daughter
Yeah, Barbara Broccoli
went
was
into
already,
a bigger
yes.
producing role in here. Now she's produced a lot of stuff in her own right since then. But
And then his stepson, Michael G. Wilson.
I was gonna say you're right. That is the last one he produced because he died shortly after. after
Yeah, I think
this.
he was in bad health here, but he helped pick Brosnan.
This was also a movie that was not based on any writing from Ian Fleming in any way, shape, or
But
form.
it was named after his Jamaican home,
Yeah.
which was called Goldeneye.
It's
which-
actually a hotel you can stay at now, the Goldeneye
Yeah.
Hotel.
But I think Goldeneye was actually the name of an operation because Ian Fleming was in the
Service.
British intelligence during World War II.
This is directed by Martin Campbell, who also,
yes. Directed Casino Royale,
and the Zorro movie with Antonio Banderas and Vertical Limit.
which also has Isabella Scorupco in it, right?
Yes, Vertical Limits has her in it as well. Yes.
And Chris O'Donnell, was it?
Yeah, and Bill Paxton.
I watched it once a long time ago.
So AMC Theaters is headquartered in Kansas City. Technically now, if you want to speak properly, they are in Leawood, Kansas. But when they're AMC 28, which we used to call the AMC 30 because it used to have 30 studios, they dropped it down a few. This is the first movie I saw there. Our older sister worked there when they opened, and for the preview night of opening up the theater to everyone to bring guests in and just get everyone used to kind of the experience, this is the movie I saw. Everyone else in my family who saw something else, and they were all pissed because they had to wait for me because this is a much longer movie.
For some reason, I didn't go with my friends to see this. So Tomorrow Never Dies actually ended up being my first Bond film at the theater. But-
Tomorrow Never Dies is my first.
But I didn't really get heavily into Bond until after this movie came out.
didn't
You know, I did watch it as a kid, though. And
I remember my cousins liked a lot of the 80s James Bond movies, so, like, going up there
Yeah.
and you go
My
to the rental
stepdad
store with
was into
them,
'em.
people would be into, like, renting those, and you just kind of watch
well,
them.
they did the marathon on TBS every
Yep.
year. The
I would watch a
13
ton of those
days
with
or
my
whatever,
mom
Yeah.
every
Yeah.
year. Yeah.
They're fucking long movies with those commercials. So.
GoldenEye stands out in a couple other ways, though, too. Like, right, so this is one of the first movies you don't have, like, a lot of gratuitous sexualized woman in here. Like, it's there, but it's not to the degree of, like, she's prancing around in a bikini the whole time.
She's a little more depth to her, yeah.
Yeah, she's actually...
Yeah, they kind of go in and out of that, but I definitely like... Natalia is one of the hottest Bond women to me, and it's because she's also not just hot looking, but she's a smart character. She's a fucking like scientist and computer engineer or whatever, and it's just like hot.
She's not just a damsel in distress. And then the other Bond girl in the movie is like this badass henchman
who fucks people to death with her thighs.
Yeah, she just chokes them out that way.
Somehow strangles them with her thighs. Yeah.
You're choking me, and I'm always like, I think that was the first time I realized that it wouldn't be bad to die while having sex. I think that's the first time I realized that.
I want this woman to do this to me. If it ends in death, then that's... If I die, I die. But fucking I want Xenia to do that to me.
She takes a beating, and her death when you eventually get to that is fucking amazing. Yeah.
We'll get to one
she always did enjoy a good squeeze.
One of my favorite things in the opening is, which of course, you open with him running down the dam or whatever, which is cool if you played the game. You're like, all right, cool, I get a little extra backstory on this. I feel like I know something,
Mm-hmm.
And he jumps down, which this is just cool, and I like the way this shit is shot.
It was like, at least for the time, a world record jump, too.
I also love the music, and I know that's controversial.
Yeah, I do, too. I've always been against the grain of the Bond fans on that. They hate Eric Serra's shit, but it's good.
No, I love the music in this just hits that note for me, but it's also perfectly nostalgic for me, and I wasn't so ingrained in the James Bond culture that I had something to compare it to and be like, oh, this doesn't sound, feel, or look like Bond.
And he goes down into the facility.
The bathroom.
Yes, and he's in the bathroom, right? I love this part. Forgot to knock. Punches the guy out. And you're like, this is like your first time seeing him as Bond if you're, at the time. I don't have that kind of thing. This is my first probably real experience watching a Bond movie even as a kid, but I feel like other people would be like, this is your introduction to this James Bond right here, and he's won you over already with that.
Yeah, he's not fucking around.
He's handsome. His delivery of the line is perfect. I think he's just perfect as that type of character. He pulls it off.
I think this is his best portrayal as Bond, and it was his first one.
Yeah.
Oh, hands down, it was his best, right? But it was also different enough. Like the other ones kind of went back to some of those traditional campy story elements that aren't necessarily bad, but some of his other movies have not aged as well as Goldeneye. Goldeneye feels pretty timeless. Besides,
this one gives you a whole thing, that whole another fellow 00 agent that's gone rogue and evil and shit, and that's such a fucking cool element.
It's the first time they did that, and Sean Bean is great casting for that.
Yeah, he was amazing.
I love his introduction because he's in the dark, in the shadows, which is, we'll get back to it, but
and he yells Russian at him, so
yeah,
Bond thinks
he speaks Russian, and then comes out, I'm alone, and aren't we all? That whole bit.
I had to stop in the bathroom.
Yeah. And then the for England, James. For England, I like.
For England.
Then they go in there to the things and he tells them to set the timers for 6.
Yeah. 6 minutes, check.
Yeah. And then there's lots of just that funny dialogue that you can tell that they're
witty banter.
Exactly. It's closing time, James.
Buy me a pint.
Buy me a pint. Exactly.
One of the things I noticed...
Shut the door, Alec, there's a draft. Been waiting to get that one out,
Some of the things I love about this, though, is how well the game tied into this. Obviously, not just from the story standpoint, but even the design of the mines.
Well, dude, it feels like you're walking around in this movie when you play that game.
They didn't make this movie to be a video game, but it fits so well into it. Like a lot of Bond movies, I don't think they would have struggled.
They added some shit into the game, too, that you're like, it feels like it fits into the movie, like things that you're missing from the movie. They did it so well.
It fills the gaps in there, yeah.
Exactly. Like at the beginning of the first level, like we already talked about, or the level on the boat.
I think that was actually in the script, him going past a security shack or something, but, it just wasn't filmed or it was cut or something.
Well, you kind of get... You don't necessarily need that.
And he sets the timers for 3 minutes instead, or 2 minutes?
3 minutes,
yeah. He cuts it in half.
Because at the very end, that comes back to haunt him. He says he's got... Yeah, or that's on the train when he's trying to kill him, he's like, he's got half the time.
So he hides behind the tanks.
And he slowly starts moving across it. Well, that's after Alec gets shots.
Yeah.
Blow them all to hell.
What did they think, that Bond was going to shoot a tank? They could have, just ran up.
I do love that. When he's like, wait! And then the one guy shoots, and he just shoots him. He's like, fuck you. Happy. You could have just killed us all, you fucking ass.
You can't win.
Exactly. And then he hits the button, and then that kick-ass music kicks in, and he rolls backwards, shoots the barrels. They all kind of collide on them. Yeah, fall on them. And then you start level 3 of the video game.
Exactly.
Where he rolls out of there and catches the plane, which I love this scene because when he's running, and he gets in the plane before it's going fast enough. Then he's wrestling with a guy and he falls out with the motherfucker.
And he has to get back.
And then that guy's hit by the motorcycle. And then he grabs the motorcycle, catches back up, gets in the plane. And it's fucking like, every time I watch this, no matter how many times, I just watched this movie like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago or something. Maybe a month ago, I don't know. But I watched that again, obviously, last night. And I was like, still just captivated by this scene.
The first 10 minutes of this movie are fucking pure, like, action movie perfection.
Like, a lot of the Bond movies start out that kind of this, here's the thing.
This is a pretty
well, yeah,
sometimes
you're
it
usually kind of
ties
wrapping
in or
up
doesn't.
a storyline, or you think, and then you've kind of got, like, some breathing
But this
space.
one, man, yeah, it kills it.
I think some crazy stunt guy actually did this for real. Like, jumped out of a plane or jumped off a cliff. Skydived to catch up with a plane. I think there was probably a pilot in there in case shit went wrong or something, and he had a parachute.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times people are like, "Oh, this is really unrealistic," and
Bum, bum,
which
bum, bum.
I'm pretty sure at that angle with the cliff right there, I don't think he could have pulled it up in time. But
Bum, 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 bum.
yeah,
The only thing on
Tina
this
Turner and
that didn't look
Goldeneye.
what are you saying, Justin?
I was going to say, the only thing in this movie that really kind of feels like it's aged a little bit is just that little opening sequence, because the CGI in there is just not quite what you're expecting with, like, the practical
I think
optics
it
they
looks
used to
pretty
use.
good.
It looks good enough for me. I'm not bothered by it.
I much prefer the video game version of it, where it's just totally
Oh, you
N64.
mean the gun barrel or the
Yeah, the gun barrel
the Tina Turner
sequence.
stuff?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, this is the first movie to do CGI for the gun barrel. Before it was just like a
Optical
miniature
effect, yeah.
camera inside of a gun barrel of a gun.
And is there anything that indicates really that it's 9 years later?
The text?
Is that what pops up?
Yeah, it says 9 years later.
Man, I missed it this time.
His hair is.
I knew it was, but
his hair is different, I guess, a little bit. But yeah, it does say 9 years later.
And then
I always thought it'd been funny
getting
if
an
they had-
evaluation,
if
basically.
they'd had Timothy Dalton in the opening scene, and then it was Pierce Brosnan.
9 years later, that'd have been asinine, but it's so good.
Had a little work done.
Why don't we fuck in my car? Basically, that's the intro of the movie after he
Yeah,
has the...
he races
Xenia.
Xenia, yeah.
and then she's banging people to death. I'm here for it. Get the basically the
go.
Tiger helicopter, and she kills the pilots by kind of like, being hot.
Shooting them.
Wasn't that the boat? Or was that the pilots?
That was
Yeah,
the helicopter pilots.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then-
I remember them catching them, but didn't she kill the boat's captain that the helicopter's piloted on or
She
parked on
kills
first?
the Canadian admiral. I don't remember why he was
Okay.
Canadian or what. Oh, they take his,
It's his
card so they can get through security.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like he's on the ship and has access
Armoff
to it.
is dressed like the admiral she kills.
Yeah.
That's how he gets through. And then they both dress as the pilots that she kills.
Yeah.
And then they get on the helicopter and take off with it.
And that's an awesome sequence anyway, too. Like just seeing that helicopter.
And again, extended in the game with more interesting Bond shit.
Oh,
The boat
I
level.
loved speed running the battleship or whatever he's running through there before.
Frigate.
The frigate, yeah.
That's what the level's called.
I love speed running that one. On a one-shot
And then you get to
kill.
the satellite in Severnia.
Severnaya.
And that's your first introduction to the asshole Boris.
I love Boris.
I know. That's why I love him. He's such an asshole, but he's just like this.
They're right in
pompous-
front of you.
You guys
and
notice,
they opened large
You
stores.
guys notice the obsession with pointing out people's middle names in this movie? We know the middle name of like every character except Bond.
I didn't notice.
You didn't notice? That's one thing I always notice. Like we know all the Russians' middle names. That's really weird.
No, but Boris, like, ha, I'm invincible.
Slugheads. Better luck next time, slugheads.
So he plays Nightcrawler in X-Men, and of course,
Yeah.
Xenia's
X-Men 2.
Xenia's Phoenix. What's her name? Jean Grey. It's a
Good
little,
times. Come back doing other stuff.
he wouldn't know a woman if one came up and sat on his head.
Yeah, and then he goes out for a smoke, and the chopper lands.
I'm going for a cigarette.
Goes in there and tells him like it's basically a drill. I'm timing you, and all that shit. That's funny.
You would have been ready.
And then she basically has an orgasm while killing people, and I love that. That's one of my favorite things is when
I think I would have
she
an
goes
orgasm
like,
too if I just mowed
and then
down
it
a bunch of people.
pans over to Ormov, and he's just like, I love so much the look that he gives her because it's like a fear erection he's getting right there.
You think they just met? Like,
which is what I'm getting watching her do that too.
It's a fight or flight boner. You're like, do I want to die for this or not?
I think I do.
You think they met when they stole the helicopter? Like they didn't know each other before that, and so this is his first experience with her.
He's like, oh, she's crazy.
Cream in her panties over murder.
Shit.
I don't know.
I love it though. That's one of my favorite little touches in this movie.
It's pretty impressive. That she has the most sexual prowess in this movie. It's not like the Bond love interest.
Probably isn't like a psycho. You know, he's just a general that's kind of betrayed his government and trying
because he's over it,
take over the get all this money.
I feel that. You do you, man.
And she's like a psycho killer, and he's like, what the fuck have I gotten myself into?
What's the guy's name that Bond meets up with? The American.
Jack Wade.
CIA. Yeah, that's it. He's in Tomorrow Never Dies as well.
As Jack Wade, yeah, but he's also in The Living Daylights, which was 2 movies before this, as the villain, the main villain, actually.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
That's fucking
1987, weird. He plays an American military dropout, basically.
Interesting.
Arms dealer type?
Arms dealer / opium.
You know, there's a lot of actors out there.
Bond movies did this a lot. Like, one of the guys that played Blofeld had previously played a Bond ally. And
yeah.
So, yeah.
I like that, though. Show me the rose. Please, no.
But the movie before this, Felix Leiter, Bond's CIA ally, was maimed, so they had to get a new character.
You do any gardening, Bond?
Because he's got the rose tattoo.
Yeah. Meaning, do you want to fuck me in the ass later, James?
I mean, hey, we're not going to kink shame them, whatever they like.
No, that's not kink shaming. I'm just saying that guy is possibly bi or gay because he's asking him to fuck his ass, it sounds like.
I think he's just really into gardening.
I know, but also it could be interpreted as I have a tattoo of a rose on my ass. Do you do any gardening?
I interpreted it as you do like laser removal.
Interesting. I hadn't thought of it that way.
Third wife.
He goes and sees Valentine. That's pretty cool.
Let's talk about him again real quick. You're a big MST3K guy. You know, what's that movie? Joe Don Baker, the guy that plays Jack Wade, he stars in it. So one of the more famous episodes of MST3K was that movie he starred in.
Mitchell,
yeah.
I think I have that one, actually.
Yeah. I think they did.
It's in my...
Isn't there like a sequel, too, or something?
It's in one of these.
So that's one of the more popular episodes of MST3K.
Yeah. That's classic. He goes and sees Valentine, though. I like this.
Who's played by, what's his name in Harry Potter?
Yeah, Hagrid.
And he looks so different, just over the time that he's aged. But yeah, and it's funny because he's
a
such
baby face in this too.
Yeah, he has no facial hair and he has short hair.
And
I like
his ass.
Stand by your man.
You know who that was? Minnie Driver from Grosse Pointe Blank.
Oh, I didn't even notice.
Girl. Yeah. And oh shit, what was I gonna say?
Yeah, they do all the westernized bullshit over in Russia. Which
Russians are obsessed with
American
Western
pop culture and Western
or cowboy culture. Yeah. It's a real thing. Oh, what was I gonna say?
Valentine's an interesting character, though.
Valentine comes back 2 movies later too. I don't know if you remember the roles on very well. Yeah. But his character comes back.
And then Mishkov and all that shit, and his interaction with Oromov, and finding out that there's another Natalia's alive too.
Oh, the defense minister.
When he's trying to resign, basically.
Dmitry Mishkin.
It's fucking weird.
Blaming it on Siberian separatists.
So I must resign.
And of course he's suspicious of them there. So.
Yeah.
So the scene later kind of ties in.
Was this queue, how long had this queue been going for?
Since the second movie. So 1963, so...
Yeah, he's the only one that's
32
continued
years
that long.
The whole time.
Yeah,
he did 2 more movies after this.
I was going to say, I thought he only did a couple more after this.
He died in a car accident, of all things, at 87 or whatever, shortly after...
Don't touch that!
The World Is Not Enough was filmed.
It's my lunch.
Yeah, the fucking, giant sandwich that just reminds you of Happy Gilmore. Why is he doing a Subway ad?
Yeah, I love his interactions with Q, though. They're pretty good.
Yeah, this was his 15th movie, because he wasn't in Live and Let Die for some reason. So this is
how long did you say the fuse was again? I will grow up, 007.
Well, that comes back to have a big payoff later, and then I love how 006, has all the knowledge of Q's stuff. So the watch that he immediately takes and disarms and everything.
A belt. I'm familiar with that device.
Not one with 100-foot cord.
Yeah, stable. That extends out to the whatever the fuck he says there, exactly.
Fucking Wade goes fucking cruising around in that BMW. He's like, don't push any buttons in there.
Just want to go bombing around in it.
That is one thing. That car doesn't get a lot of use like you'd expect.
The licensing deal came in late, so they weren't able to really write it into the film. So it pretty much just got a glorified cameo. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Whereas the next
this
film,
seems like it's really underdone. There's usually like a car sequence besides.
Well, the next film they have that just plain old sedan BMW with a really extensive scene with all the gadgets and shit.
Yeah, and this one you really just have that kind of car chase scene at the beginning just to establish like, hey, it's a Bond movie.
It sold a lot of cars though, even though it barely got any screen time.
People fucking love that color though too. Like that, I remember seeing that color of like that style convertible for years.
I still see them.
And of course, Bond meets Zinnia at the spa or whatever, the pool area, and she tries to crush him with her thighs, and it's just like another scene where I'm like,
fight or flight, fear boner, huh?
I guess she broke her rib when Brosnan threw her against the wall, like in real life.
Damn.
Something like that.
Well,
she
is hot though.
No more foreplay.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a pretty good fight sequence in there.
Once again, the pleasure was all yours.
You don't need the gun, Commander. Depends on your definition of safe sex.
Her fucking death is glorious though when you get there because she's on that fucking helicopter and gets basically like pulled to death through the fucking tree.
She always did enjoy a good squeeze.
Yeah, the little fucking one-liners that.
And she's like, someone just died.
Yeah.
That's what Natalia said. She just died.
I do like the statue scene. Again, that's fucking cinematic as hell.
Oh, yeah. The cinematography on there is great. Like, it's so fucking dark and brooding.
It's crazy how the trailers all gave away the... I mean, you got to be an idiot not to understand that Sean Bean's going to come back,
But still, yeah, when you're a kid,
for the lay
you
person,
are not an idiot. You're just like,
as a kid, I had no idea, and I was shocked as shit when I saw him there.
Well, as a kid, he probably didn't pay attention to the trailers.
No, I don't even think I saw the trailers.
But also,
anyway.
I love how his reveal is the same as the beginning. He's in the all black and steps into the light.
Yes,
because you're like, who's that?
It's another reveal. Yeah,
I like that.
Mirroring itself later on.
And then
it's
the whole
like poetry, it rhymes.
The only thing, they don't really explain how he kind of survived all that. He basically just, survived and then just fucking wanted to steal money from people.
God didn't give me this face, James. It was you.
Well, I
setting the time was for 3 minutes instead of 6.
I assume he survived because he pretended to die and he was with the Russians, so they probably...
I think, he was already betraying them at that point. He knew he was doing when he joined up, pretty much. He's always been Leon's Cossack.
They didn't really shoot him in the head, but they don't think they expected the mines to have been set so low, so he got a little burned getting out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that kind of makes sense there.
But yeah, the whole shooting him in the head was all a ruse.
Yeah. The Leon's Cossacks thing, it's one of those things I didn't notice as a kid either. Yeah, it is real. I looked it up and learned about it. I was like, fucking fascinating.
That whole backstory, which would put Alec to be, 50 years old?
The actor's 35 or 36.
He was 36 in this? But the character has to be 50 if he was... Well, no. His parents survived after World War II, right? But they had to be
but his parents could have killed him.
His father killed his wife.
His parents could have killed him. Well,
I mean, yeah.
Anyone's parents could have killed him, but did they?
Hopefully.
I always took it that they died shortly after World War II. So he would have had to have been born. But
yeah, I don't know. Either way, I'm not worried about it. I do like the train. He's talking about how he lives on that train. Earlier when they're calling him Yanis. And that's fascinating. He lives on one of those old armored trains and shit. Can't be seen by shit or fucked up by shit.
Yeah, that's pretty badass.
And the train level is one of my favorites in the James Bond game too. That's fun.
Inside the train. And then
all
the depot scene too.
Yeah.
The level anyway.
The fucking tank stuff too is just a blast as well. Fucking clowning around with all that. In the game and in the movie. I mean, Bond is arrogant enough he just fucking takes this goddamn fucking tank down the fucking train tunnel and fucking fires a rocket at this thing.
Yeah.
Now, what he should have done is he should have fucking blown the tracks up and not blown that up. He would have derailed it without it hitting this thing.
I don't think you can make the tank shoot the tracks, though. I don't think it goes points down.
You don't think there's enough? range on it like that.
No, I don't think it points down enough to hit the...
And you get the classic, the laser watch. I love that shit.
Hell yeah.
The escape from there. Well, that whole scene is weird because Alec tries to force himself on Natalia, and she's like, not having it.
Tastes like strawberries.
Exactly. I wouldn't know. I would. I would.
And then Zane is like, oh. Fucking nympho.
Right. She's flicking one off like every fucking 5 minutes in the bathroom, probably.
She's hypersexual, basically.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying is, I want to know her.
She was in an episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation also.
I'll be damned. That's fascinating. The last act of this movie is shit really picks up and kind of gets exciting. I love all the shit on the where are they at? In Cuba? I love all the Cuban base. All the Cuban base stuff.
It's not actually in Cuba, that satellite, but it was tore down recently.
In
but
the movie, it's in Cuba.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
Yeah, it collapsed in real life recently.
It's also in Contact.
Yeah.
I really like that movie too.
Yeah, I guess it was so old the base finally collapsed on it or something.
Yeah, they just weren't able to upkeep it, so it just fell down. But no,
I like the stuff in like the levels, the cavern. We don't really see a little, not much. You see like how it's kind of built into the place a little bit in the movie though, and I do like that. The mines. Then they get caught. You have Boris up there trying to get the password out of them, and doing the pen twirling.
And typing with one hand.
Yeah, I can't even do it.
Yeah, there's so many.
He drops it. So
exactly.
Well, that's well written because there's so many of those little setups in there.
Counting the clicks.
Exactly, because he knows it's a fucking bomb. I love that shit. And I also love later when he, yes, I am invincible.
And then the cryo tanks blow.
Yeah, then fucking Terminator 2 happens all over again and he's frozen. You just want someone to T-1000 his ass and blow him up.
Pretty much. He betrayed Natalia.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I love it how 006 is basically fucking holds him at gunpoint. Like, you're not fucking leaving. Like, you're still got to get all this shit done.
Yeah.
If he moves, shoot
Mm-hmm.
him. I like the...
that whole satellite sequence is great at the end, like that last showdown, because...
I like the fight between Bond and...
they have guns on there for a minute, but after that, it's really just kind of like the wit man-to-man fight, which...
Yeah, that's a good fight.
It's well choreographed and it fucking feels tense, even though you can like kind of tell it's blue screen.
Pierce Brosnan is doing his fucking best Mark Hamill at the end of Empire Strikes Back impression.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Hanging from the...
Yeah.
Very much the Cable guy too, like where he's there.
Ricardo. Ricardo. Well, he mentioned the Goldeneye in that movie.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just like Goldeneye.
Which was, what, a year before? That Cable guy?
That one's 96.
96, yeah.
Classic.
Yeah, no, this is a great movie, man. This Bond movie holds up. It's so much fun. But like I said, there's things about this that are different. People.
For England, James?
No.
For me.
I love that.
And then I love how you see his body slap on the ground, too.
And then he's fucking alive there, too.
Somehow.
And then you get to see that whole fucking thing collapse onto him. Like, it's amazing.
That's brutal. Gruesome. I love it. And then he goes and bangs Natalia in a field.
Yeah, and then the Marines are there with Mr.
They're all
Wade.
hiding under hay or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I told you I'd be here. Whatever, like it's a southern drawl accent. They all stand up like they all just fucking watch, and everyone's like strangely aroused by watching a British man screw a Russian woman.
Well, I forgot he was there earlier, too, for a bit when they first got to Cuba.
Yeah, because
he gave him the car or whatever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was the plane. They switched.
Just go bombing around in it.
Yeah. No, it's a fucking... Like I said, it's my favorite James Bond movie for lots of different reasons, but...
The key things, though, that I think throw some people off from this is the music, I think, bothers some people, which I love the music. For me, it's amazing. And then...
I think the best part of the music is it really captures that Russian atmosphere. With the, I don't know how to describe it, but...
And then, the sex, the heroine isn't like a sex-crazed maniac. She has just enough sexual tension with Pierce Brosnan that works compared to what you're used to.
I'm just... Like I said, her brain... is like hot because she's a scientist. Like, yes.
Yeah, but even like right after this, remember, they just go right back to like, hey, she's got to be like hanging out in bikinis the whole time. And like, so this has like an intellectual smart...
Kill him. He means nothing to me.
Yeah, I mean, you see her like kind of
boys
in a
with
cover-up
toys.
bikini, kind of near the end, or as they're there, and like that's kind of like it, and you're like, oh, okay, no big deal. So, interesting.
No coochie shots.
Still the #1 Bond movie in my book, though.
Yeah. Let us know what Bond movie we should cover next. We'll be doing these from time to time, so.
And we've got plenty to choose from.
This is the 60th anniversary, right?
Oh, shit.
The 60th anniversary of the movies, anyway.
Damn.
The novel started in 53, but the movies were 62.
Yeah.
So.
Well, let us know what you think of Goldeneye, and like I said, leave a comment below and whatnot. What do you think we should cover next, James Bond wise?
Happy birthday, Pierce.
Happy birthday, Nick.
Hey, Nick.
Yeah. And if you're not on our Patreon, be sure to subscribe.
These are my dinner guests, the Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers. These are my dinner guests, Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers. These are my...
Shut this off. Shut these all off.